Okay. Um, can you all see my screen?
Yes, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned before, today I'm going to work about how remote work actually impacts psychology. What are some of the advantages? What are some of the disadvantages? What are some of the challenges that people face? And how can actually employers implement some strategies in order to overcome these challenges? So to start, we're going to talk about a small or a brief overview of remote work and its increasing prevalence in today's world. And of course, about the purpose. So the purpose of today's presentation is to explore the psychological impact that remote work has on us. According to remote work has been increasingly common due to advancements in technology and changing workplace dynamics, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. So when all the things were down, but uh, work had to be done, and there was an area for improvement in technological advancement, and this also brought the remote work, so people working from home rather than going in the office because it wasn't something to do to go to the office, so people had to work from their homes. Many companies now embrace flexible work arrangements like hybrid, for example, or remote work, recognizing benefits such as an increased productivity, cost savings, and improved work and life balance. So, in a general saying, these are some of the advantages of working from home. So you maybe have some increased productivity, but this may be also considered as a disadvantage. We will see in the upcoming slides. It is an advantage for you to save the costs because you don't have to go out to take a taxi or to take public transport, etc. And improved work and life balance. This is also something as an advantage while working remotely because you can set your own hours, and this is what gives you a flexible schedule to also do other things. Psychology helps explaining how individuals adapt to remote work, like and especially in things to manage stress, maintaining motivation in virtual environments. Because although you are working from your home, it is still called working environment because you have to log into your work, you have to work to your schedule, etc. The role of psychology, from the psychological perspective we are talking now, it also provides insight into teamwork, communication, and the impact of isolation, guiding organizations in fostering employee well-being and engagement, like in general. So if you stay home, you save the costs, but you have these feelings of being isolated, not being very socially because you spend like 8 or 9 hours just in front of the computer all by yourself. When did the rise of remote work happen? As we mentioned, it happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. So mostly it has been tripled since 2020. Surveys indicate that over 50% of employees globally now work remotely, at least part time, with many companies adopting hybrid models to accommodate these trends. So, after the things were calmed down a bit, there was also the hybrid model of working, so some days to the office and some days remote or fully remote. But the companies were more open to adapt to this new model of working and letting also the candidate choose himself how he wanted to work. We also have an advancement, we would say, an evolution of technological of technology. So technological advancements have been enabling remote work because they go together in a chain. Of course, if your work is done from the computer or from home, it has to be through technology. Companies have embraced remote work by implementing some flexible policies. So, if you choose a hybrid model or if you choose a remote worker, you also have to adapt a new mental health, a new policy, so a new working policy for your company, prioritizing like employee well-being and rethinking productivity metrics. So they are also focusing on mental health policy. Employers are investing in digital infrastructure and remote team building strategies to maintain engagement and efficiency in a virtual work environment. What are some benefits of working remote from a psychological perception? It is an increased work and life balance, of course, because if you know or if you have more time, for example, because you are staying at home, so you also save some costs and you may use these costs in order to have another hobby that you like, or you set your own schedule. So this gives you more time to spend with your family or with other activities, etc. It gives you flexibility and autonomy, especially for the ones that now have their own business or set their own hours of working. Reduced commuting stress, like reduce the stress that you have to go until work, especially for the ones that live in high distance from work, and it costs them stress, time, and also money. And it is shown from studies that it has an increased productivity and job satisfaction. So people that work from home are shown to have an increased productivity and job satisfaction. What are some of the challenges? As we said, there will be both advantages and disadvantages, of course, like in any other place. And for that, some of the challenges that are faced on remote working on or from workers that work remotely from their home. First, we have the feelings of isolation and loneliness. Although it's good that you are working from your home, it's not so good that you just stay by yourself all 8 hours without communicating with others. Or sometimes it also gives some blurred boundaries between work and personal life. Sorry. Because now you don't have that routine or the set of a routine. It's very difficult. Increased risks of burnout, especially for people who become obsessed only by working and by not trying to balance their work and their life. And sometimes it also gives a lack of motivation and discipline. And from a psychological perspective, I would say that a lack of motivation and discipline comes from the lack of routine. So now you are having a new routine, but this routine doesn't consist of you changing the work environment. So changing the from home to go there to your workplace. That's why in these cases we have advised that even when you work from home, you have a separate office about that. So you already change the environment, or you can go to a co-working space and work there from home in order to have the feeling that you are going into the office. This is like a strategy or a technique that usually helps with this challenge. As we have these psychological challenges, we also have mental health implications. With mental health implications, we can say that it has a risk for anxiety and depression, because staying home alone, or like having these feelings of isolation and loneliness, can actually lead to anxiety and depression. Or sometimes it is also an increased lack of communication. So this is also something that brings stress levels, or you have more work expectations and less teamwork. So this is also something that causes an increased stress level. And of course, something that is related to stress, anxiety, and depression is the importance of social interactions for mental well being. So we need to be socializing with others. And if we aren't doing this, of course, we're going to develop some feelings of anxiety or stress or low productivity. And these are some of the challenges and implications related to mental health that are coming or are being impacted by remote work. Regarding the cognitive and behavioral changes, we can say that it has some changes in focus and concentration. So, remote work can improve focus by reducing workplace distraction, but it can also introduce challenge like home related interruptions and digital fatigue. Employees must develop self discipline and time management skills to maintain productivity in a less structured environment. Another change or another effect is on creativity and problem solving. These virtual collaboration tools enable brainstorming and idea sharing, but the lack of in person interaction, so the social interaction, the social communication, can hinder spontaneous creativity. Companies encourage innovation through structured online meetings, asynchronous idea exchanges, and fostering a culture of open communication. And lastly, it has an impact on decision making and accountability. As we said also about the routine and the work life balance, the accountability is also related to routine and having a work and life balance. Remote work requires clear communication and well defined roles to ensure accountability in decision making. Digital tracking tools, regular check ins, and transparent workflows help maintain responsibility and keep teams aligned on goals. What is the relation, or what is the relation between remote work and social relationships? How does social relationships impact on psychology, and how does remote work impact on social relationship? Remote work has shifted communication towards digital platforms, requiring employees to reply mostly like online or in an open communication through Teams, through online meetings, messaging apps, video calls, emails, etc. While this enhances flexibility, of course, it can lead to misinterpretations and reduce spontaneous interactions, making clear and conscious communication essential. It has also brought a collaboration and virtual team dynamics challenge in terms of social relationship. Building strong team dynamics remotely can be challenging due to the lack of face to face interaction and non-verbal cues. Also, the lack of technology advancements or sometimes internet, etc. But face to face interaction is very, very important. Companies address this by using collaboration tools, setting clear expectations, and fostering virtual team building activities to enhance cohesion and trust. Remote work can limit informal networking and mentorship opportunities, and this can affect relationship building and career development. To counter this, usually organizations implement structured mentorship programs, virtual networking events, and professional developing resources to support employees' growth. So this is something that companies, especially startups or small businesses, do right now. So they offer also universities. They offer some mentorship programs or some training programs in order for them to train these new employees that they have so they can impact their career growth or their personal growth and so on. What are some strategies for positive remote work experience that we can do to achieve a routine, to achieve a work life balance, and to not face any psychological challenges and mental health implications? Setting boundaries and maintaining a routine. Although we are going to work from home, it is good that we maintain a routine and we make this as we were going to go every day to wake up and go to our work. It is good that we set a routine, it is good that we set our working hours, and it is good that we set some boundaries on our work as well as on our life. This will help us to create a positive remote work experience for ourselves and for our team if we are in the position of a supervisor or a team leader, etc. Prioritizing mental health and self care. It is very important for us to work and make money, but it's also important for us to have a clear mindset and to take care of ourselves. Leveraging digital tools for collaboration. It is very good that we stay on track on every technology that is needed in order to make our work and our life easier. And of course, encouraging virtual social interactions like joining communities, having online meetings like every day with your team, meet once per month, for example, face to face, or something like or something else. So, depending on each business or on each organization. What is actually the role of employers in supporting remote workers? So until now, we talked about mostly about individuals and let's say managers and what can individuals do to improve remote working for themselves. But on the other hand, there is also the role of an employer as a business owner, as an employer, or as a CIO, if you try and decide to have this model, so either the hybrid or either the full remote working, you also have to change not only the technology advancement, but also the flexible policies that you will use in order and in accordance with the model that you are giving the candidate to choose. What are some of the things that employers can put into their flexible working policies? Providing mental health resources and support, encouraging work and life balance, promoting team engagement and inclusivity, and offering flexibility and clear expectations. So, I would say, like, my advice is that offering clear expectations and setting boundaries and setting deadlines is something very, very important. So I would say that it's like you find the balance between team engagement and inclusivity as and flexibility, as well as offering all the support and setting clear expectations about everyone. These are some, let's say, strategies and techniques that will help the employers keep on track each employee and help them in their growth, development, and productivity. If we were about to conclude, I would say that remote work affects focus, creativity, decision making, communication, requiring employees to adapt to new work environments and digital collaborations. So, as I said before, if you have to choose a hybrid model or an on-site model or a remote model, you also need to know that it's not only the technology advancement, but it's all the overall working environment policy that you need to adapt to. The technology has a very influential role on remote work because without the technology advancement, this is something that couldn't be done. Uh, employ- Employers have shifted towards flexible work policies, digital infrastructure, and structured support systems to help employees thrive in remote settings because they have seen this as something that is good not only for the productivity and the growth of the employers, but also for themselves, because they may also save some costs depending on infrastructure or environment, etc. And while remote work offers flexibility and productivity gains, overcoming challenges like isolation, miscommunication, and work and life boundaries is essential for long term success. To conclude it up, is something that I would say that remote work has its own advantages and disadvantages. But we need to adapt or we need to find the right approach into all of this and use it for our own good. Thank you so much. Now we have the section of questions and answers.